Hiya, I'm Dizzy.
And I'm Bex.
And that is DeNiro. And today we are going on an explore and we're taking Scotland on a Shoestring International because we're going to be in England. Still on a shoestring, we're going to show you some really cool things. We're going to Whitby and we're going to Scarborough and it's going to be ace. We do like to be beside the seaside. This wee adventure on the Yorkshire coast will start in the town of Whitby and finish in the town of Scarborough, both of which are accessible by train. We will be driving down the coast road between the two towns, which takes in some really pretty scenery and goes past some quite impressive bits of coastline. We think you're going to like this one, we're certainly looking forward to it. We've just found out there is a sculpture trail, so we're going to go and have a wee look at all the pretty sculptures. Well, we're assuming they're pretty sculptures. We haven't actually seen them yet, so you come with us, we'll see what we can find. Told you it's a sculpture trail. It's got 9 sculptures that we're now going to try and find. DeNiro is staying in the van because there are lots of people about. He's, as we said before, not a big fan of lots of people. He's had a wee look round and that's quite enough for him. Quite a nice wee place. We are down by the harbour, so there are obviously lots of boats. And on the hill at the top, that is some old building of some sort. I think it's a priory, but I'm not completely sure. And Bex is off to try and find somewhere for a cup of coffee. Oh, she's shy. She won't do a thing if there's people behind us. This is a town, there's lots of people about, so she's going to have to get over that, or all you'll see is her pretty face and never hear her voice, which is actually possibly not a bad thing. That is the Endeavour experience. You can go on that for a look round. What's on it? No idea. Are we going to find out? Probably not. This is one of those really nice places that, although obviously it is very touristy, it's still got a lot of the original ambience. I mean, these narrow little streets where once fishermen would have done their thing. I've not been here for a lot of years and Bex has never been here, so this is a discovery trip for us both. This is a really cool little building in the middle of town and it was built in MDCCLX.XX.V111. Yeah, I have no idea when that actually was. I'm not a man that really knows his Roman numerals. Some more oldie worldy charm. This is quite a nice wee place.
I've just found a book I've been looking for all over the world. Knit Your Own Cat.
Whitby is mostly famous for 2 things: jet, which is a sort of mineral stone, and fish and chips. So we're not buying any jet, but we might buy fish and chips. As far as I can figure out, jet is just like posh coal. It is, to be fair, a very nice little place. This we are going to enjoy exploring here. I don't think I'll be taking DeNiro in there. That is a bit of a challenge. We're kind of wishing we hadn't told you we were going to try and find all the sculptures, because we're now walking around in circles trying to find number 1. We found number 2 and number 3, but we're still short of number 1. Oh, this is the Museum of Whitby Jet, which we may go into for a wee look while we're looking for statue number 1. I joked about jet being posh coal, but here in the museum we find out that jet is actually just posh coal. It is the sort of fossilised remains of old trees. As you know already, we do love these old museums. I'm guessing that pieces of coal are not the most obvious type of jewellery, but this is quite nice. Some of it is quite well carved, but I think that's all in the craftsmanship as opposed to the material. When we are YouTube superstars, we are having crowns made like this, and we are going to wear them all the time, and you'll call us YouTube King and Queen. Or maybe not. We could get DeNiro a collar though, that'd be quite cool. Well, there's still no sign of statue number 1, but there is a big flight of stairs over there that we're now going to go up.
And a big view.
Yeah. I said that and my travelling companion said, we're not going up there, are we? So that's me told, we're not going up those stairs, we're going along this way. And there is Whitby Harbour from as far up this hill as we're going to go at the moment. But it's a very pretty little place, because if I go over here, past Bex, hiya! There's another narrow, windy little old street. This place is really quite impressive. I really quite like it. We thought we'd found the first statue, but apparently that's not the first statue. Rebecca, would you like to repeat what you just said?
That's the fisherman's toil. She's just a red herring.
Okay, we've decided we're going to bin the idea of finding all the statues. What we're going to do is show you some of the statues.
The ones we can find.
The ones we can find. And down this ginnel, there's a beach.
What's a ginnel?
Ah, what you mean now is our word of the day. An English word of the day. And how do you know you're in Whitby? Don't worry, every single shop front will tell you. This is actually number 2, but we won't tell you it's number 2 and you'll believe us that we found the first one, but we haven't. It's number 2. This is called the Bridge Ender, and he's called the Bridge Ender because he is at the end of that bridge. That is Whitby's famous swing bridge, which is 100 years old and swings out the way for ships to get in and out of the harbour. Right, this is number 3. It's called the Fishwife, although why she married a fish, I've got no idea. I thought we were in England, that is clearly Wales. Wales, get it? Wales. Bex keeps looking at me with all these crap jokes. She thinks she'd never seen one of our videos.
I have to live with you.
The jokes only get better. She said she has to. She doesn't have to. She can leave anytime she wants. She stays for the mirth. You better get back to your car because I'm going to poop on the roof. Well, we found a really nice old antique shop, but we still haven't found any more of those statues. And I know I said old antique shop. Antiques are always old. Sorry, I'm an idiot. Right, we've now come across to the other side of the harbour looking for more of those statues and singularly failing. But we've come here and it's quite a nice wee view. So there's a wee view for you of Whitby. Those houses perched up on the hillside over there are very nice.
I see a statue.
Okay, we found another set of statues, but they don't have a sign. So here's Bex being a fishwife. Although why she would want to marry a fish, oh, I've already done that joke. So there's a fishwife there and my wife, and over there are 2 more fishwives. And of course I fill you with ignorance and then Beck says, this is number 9, and I wonder by which magical term she knows it is number 9.
These are not fishwives, they're herring girls.
Herring girls. And if you're wondering how Bex knows all that wonderful information, she's reading that sign over there. If we hadn't found this statue, we would have been gutted, like that fish. And once again we have seagulls that are actually too lazy to take off. Hello Mr. Seagull. Do you want to be on YouTube? So there's that thing on top of the hill again that we'll find out more about, and then I will edit so you think I knew what it was. Anyway, we've given up with the statue trail. We've shown you a couple. And that is that for this visit to Whitby. As you've seen, it's a really pretty wee place which has apparently got 9 statues in its statue trail, even if we only found 3 or 4 of them. Anyway, we're going to get back in Mabel the camper van and we're going to head south down towards Scarborough and see what we can find that is worth a wee look on the way down that road. So we have left Whitby and our singular failure to find all of the statues, and we have come to the Ravenscar Visitor Centre. This is DeNiro having his dinner, and now we are going to go for a walk and see what we can find. It is quite an impressive bay. That's really very nice looking indeed. There's some cliffs and a bay and some clouds and all the stuff you'd expect from the seaside. That bit over there with the houses is called Robin Hood's Bay. We've got no idea why it's called that. We shall find out and we will let you know. Or we will just say that we don't know and we will concede ignorance, which is never a problem on this particular channel. DeNiro is leading the way in spite of the fact that once again he has got no idea where we are going. Just in case you didn't believe us, this is Ravenscar and that is Bex and DeNiro going to explore. Look at the wee waterfall. What a cracking place and what a nice day for a wee explore. This is a place that is definitely worth visiting, and obviously, as always, going for a walk is free and car parking is also free. Get a look at all the seals down there. There are hundreds of them. That is so impressive. I would put the drone up, but I wouldn't want to scare them away. They all look like they're hopefully sleeping. Wow, so I don't know about putting the drone up. I could put it up quite high and then use lots of magnification and they wouldn't even hear it, but yeah, not sure. But in the end I decided that yep, I wanted to have a good look at the seals on the beach without getting too close. I've lost Bex and DeNiro, so I'm going to have to find any walkers and say, excuse me, have you seen a lady in a red coat and a big greyhound? I'm sure they would remember them, they are quite distinctive. Or I could just embrace technology and use a drone to find out where they had wandered off to, and there they are down there going down that big flight of steps. Now what I know that Bex doesn't know at this point is at the bottom of that flight of steps there are lots and lots of seals. Now I don't know if DeNiro's seen a seal, but I'm pretty sure the seals would not be very keen to see DeNiro. And as I'd been really clever and not brought my mobile phone with me, I had to pack the drone away and then go running down the hill to let Bex know what awaited her at the bottom, where the seals were all lying on the beach. So I took DeNiro back up the hill a wee bit away from the seals and Bex went down for a closer look. And while she was down doing that, I got the drone out again and practised my panoramas. Now people make this look really smooth and easy, but it's really not. This was about the 5th attempt, but I finally got something that I thought was halfway usable, and it's a very pretty view, so it was well worth it in the end. Yeah, I'm doing that thing when I keep getting my words mixed up and I'm out of breath walking up a big hill, but I still want to film stuff. So there are some very precarious looking rocks.
I'm sure they've been there for a lot of years though.
Yeah, I'm sure they have. They're not going to fall off in the next 5 minutes.
I don't think so.
I hope not.
But let's be quick.
We will be going past those quite quickly. They look quite topply. He made it down these steps. The question is he going to make it back up? He is not at all sure. This may be a very slow walk. Come on, DeNiro. Come on, pet. Up we come. You can do it. Yay! Woohoo! Look at him go. This is a dog, as I said before, hadn't even seen a flight of steps a few weeks ago. Yay! And that was that for Ravenscar. It was getting dark and pretty miserable by the time we left, went back up the hill and headed back to Mabel for the drive down to Scarborough. It had been an excellent day, as most of our holidays usually are, so night night, we're going to drive to Scarborough and we'll see all you guys in the morning. Good morning. This is day 2 of our little trip to Scarborough. We parked Mabel over there and we woke up to that. That's not a bad wee view, is it? And now we're going to go and get some breakfast over there. It's a beautiful day and this is our first port of call. We decided against taking DeNiro in. It was quite a small cafe. DeNiro loves a beach and I think Bex loves a beach almost as much. We came out here last night and we saw all these beach huts and there's somebody in my shot.
It's a gorgeous beach and the beach huts are just stunning.
These beach huts are really, really pretty. I don't know if they're owned by like the local council or if they're owned by people. And if they're owned by people, I've got no idea how much they would cost, but they're really, really nice. And a day like this, really worth it. That is quite a nice sight, the way it lines up along there. Very artistic. I wish I was a photographer. I could do some great photos of these. And there we see a young lady and a greyhound who's refusing to walk because I'm up here and he's down there. And if I was down there and Bex was up here, he'd do exactly the same thing. It's just weird. It is quite funny because if DeNiro decides that he's not moving, then he's not moving. If a single story beach hut isn't enough for you, these are the Julep 2-story ones with an upstairs and a balcony. Those must be amazing when the weather is nice. Probably not quite so nice when the weather is horrible. So if you don't fancy a 2-story beach hut, we are on top of the hill now and there's this lovely little crescent of single-story beach huts which are further from the beach but have got some amazing views because they're that wee bit higher up. This is quite cool. This is one of 2 statues called the Bathing Bells and it represents girls who went swimming in the 19th century, and back in them days they had to cover every inch of flesh. You couldn't see any body at all even when they were swimming, so this is the elaborate costume that they were all made to wear, so you couldn't see any flesh in case you got excited by the sight of some ankle. If you like a bit of imagery, then the steel girder symbolises the fact that they've been held back, that they weren't free to do what they want. They were tied to this big steel girder, figuratively, not literally, otherwise they would all drown. And now we're going to go for a little run to the other end of the prom where there's a statue that represents the modern day, where people are much more free to do what they want and we don't have stupid rules like you must be fully clothed when you go swimming.
Here, here.
There's a machine behind me drilling holes, but this is a statue of a gentleman called Fred Gilroy, who was one of the liberators of Belsen, and he spent his 24th birthday in the concentration camp and apparently he cried all day. He was offered the chance to go and work for the Palestinian police force at the end of the war, but he knew there was so much poverty back home that he came back to the UK and continued his good works here. So thank you for everything you did, Freddie, and you've got a nice statue. This looks like a little baby-sized Bex with her dad, the 2-scale. Yeah, hopefully not today. We talk about the Victorian times and what they did for us. Well, this promenade was built in 1890, so it's yet another gift to us from the Victorians. This is the Royal Albert Park, which has got a nice path going up through it, and then up on top of the hill is what we think is the castle. Pretty wee building, and more importantly an excuse to stop running while Bex goes tanking on. And a bit more artwork. This is called the tunny being that big fish that was caught by a little man in his little boat with a rod and line. The other end of Scarborough is quite posh. This is the tacky end with all the casinos and the gaming bits and the fish and chip shop. To be fair, we like this one almost as much as we like the other one. You can play the arcade machines in Coney Island and then you can go to Ancient Warrior and buy yourself a sword. I'm not even joking. Every time I stop to photograph something or film something and look up, she's off, and now I've got to go and catch her again. That is the Grand Hotel, which as you can see is actually very grand. I'm not sure what it's like inside. I bet it's quite nice in a sort of oldie-worldy style, full of bush parties of old people. This example of Victorian grandeur is Scarborough Spa. It's a turning point on our little run and we haven't found the other bell. We're not very good at finding statues. It is quite cool, isn't it? It's a really nice old building. And there's an outdoor dance floor if you want to go for a wee dance, which Bex always does and I always doesn't. Hey! There's some more beach chalets along this end, but I think they're the poor relations of the one at the other end, although these do look quite old.
When you're out for a run, you need to make sure and look over your shoulder because you might miss a view like this.
So,
how lovely is that? Look at that, Scarborough Spa at night, 1879.
so that's the people in their finery out for their evening, and that's what it looks like now. It's all going really well until you swallow a fly. I'll have to go find a spider now. Nice bridge from 1827, and there's the Grand Hotel again, and there's Bex, who's actually finally stopped. That's quite cool. You can get a tram up that hill to the town, and it's bolted onto this really, really attractive, obviously 1970s hideous building. No idea what that is up there. Can't promise we're going to ever find out, but it's very pretty. And whilst I'm stopping to do this, Bex has again disappeared out of sight, so I've got to now sprint to try and catch up with her. Lucky me. But hey, my mother did warn me to stay away from fast women. That really pretty building is not quite so pretty from the other side. That has to be some sort of local government thing, because only local government build things as hideous as that. We're going to have to concede defeat on the search for the second Bathing Bell statue and go and ask someone. So Bex has gone into the RNLI shop to see if they know where it is. So that is two people we have asked about the statue of the Bathing Bell, and they have never heard of it. So we'll have to go and try and find a proper information place, because this time we are not giving up. We've got one to find, and we are going to find it. Scarborough is one of those places that still has a fishing fleet, and here they are tied up doing whatever they do when they're not out catching fish. I wonder if a certain online auction house's lawyers are aware of this place. Buy your stuff from Seabay. And there's a pretty building. We just asked somebody else about the second statue, and they don't know either, so I think we're about to give up. And here we see the intrepid explorer climbing a fence. Right, so Bex has just climbed that fence, which means I've got to as well, and then we're going to go out round that bit of the pier, over that wee bridge, and back up that side. If I slip here, the next part of this video will be in a much higher register than the first half. Made it. Look at the pretty wee harbour and the pretty wee boats. We like this place quite a lot. That hill you can see in front of you is called Oliver's Mount. It's got a connection to Oliver Cromwell and Cannon and stuff, but what you need to know is it's got the most amazing little cafe right at the top with the most amazing views. And obviously, because we've stopped looking, Bex has just spotted the second Bathing Bell.
Yeah. I can see her, but I don't know if we can get over to her.
Okay, well, I think we might have found her. Of course, me being me, the statue of the Bathing Bell is over there, but I have been sidetracked by this quite impressive looking gun. Okay, so I may have been slightly distracted from my search for the Bathing Bell by the sight of this £13 quickfire gun, but it is quite a nice one. So there is Scotland on a Shoestring's first running bell with Scarborough's second Bathing Bell. So how's that for a really nice picture? There is the modern bell representing freedom. She can wear what she wants and do what she wants, and there is a really cool lighthouse. That is a really nice picture. I am really pleased with that, and once again it is a complete accident. The clouds just add ambience. Obviously we were talking about the blue skies and the sunshine, and there you see the blue skies, but behind us and coming in quite quickly is lots of not very blue at all skies. It is going to rain. This is the second lighthouse on this site, and to find out what happened to the first one we need a wee bit of history. In the run-up to the First World War, the Royal Navy told the population how great they were, so it came as something of a surprise when the German battleships Derfflinger and von der Tann sailed up to Scarborough, shelled the place and sailed away again without a shot being fired against them. Both the lighthouse and large parts of the castle were destroyed, and several people were killed. These civilian deaths were used to urge young men to remember Scarborough and sign up to fight for their country. This diving bell statue is actually quite good. We've got a love-hate relationship with sort of modern statues, but this one is really cool. I'll tell you what I really like about that statue. Look at the way she is facing up to the incoming bad weather. She's there with her bosoms out and her arms outstretched, and the clouds are coming, and she doesn't care she's going swimming. We are in England, and there's a boat from Oban in Scotland. We will be going to Oban one day soon. You will like that. Oban is a beautiful place, and there is one of those panoramas of the rest of the harbour. There's the Scarborough lifeboat. We have nothing but admiration for the guys who crew these things. They're all volunteers, and they go out in all weathers to try and save lives. They are amazing. We just found out that's not actually the Scarborough lifeboat. That is a retired lifeboat that you can go for a wee cruise on if you so wish. I stopped to film the lifeboat, and she is off again past that really nice building. Let's see what we can see. It's marine drive, road light, blah blah blah, no idea. And that is quite enough running for one day. It's time to take DeNiro for a wee walk. Poor old DeNiro has a couple of quite long walks on this trip, so this is up a big hill and his ears are back. He's not looking like he's loving it, but he's still going strong. Not quite sure what this ear configuration is. One is flapping and one is folded back. Maybe he's just half tired. We're going to go and storm Scarborough Castle, and by storm I mean huff and puff up this great big hill, which is not a lot of fun. It's quite steep and it was my idea, and I will be made to suffer for that later. To be fair, it's not a bad view, is it? There's the little beach huts that we saw earlier on, and there's the rest of North Bay. Okay, and we have reached the castle walls. This is the Royal Albert Park that we're walking up through, and there is the other side of the wall. So we've come up past the castle and over the other side and found the old church, a really nice graveyard and a cracking view of where we were running earlier on today. This is nice up here. That is St Mary's Church, and this is the site of Emily Bronte's grave. Obviously this church was once much bigger, because this looks like the old entrance. These old walls here are fragments of what was built before, and then over behind it you've got the newer bit, and I say newer, comparatively newer, but still quite old. It is quite a nice church, and it's got some nice stained glass, but I don't know if we can get inside to see that from the inside, because obviously it looks better from the inside than it does from the outside. Another feature of our videos is we're standing here and we're getting a waft of something that somebody should not be smoking. Are you actually that interested in Emily Bronte's grave? Because I'm not sure we can find it. There's no other signs to say where it is, so we're not reading every gravestone in the place to try and find Emily Bronte's grave. She is buried here, and that's all you need to know. It's a really nice little churchyard. Lots of stones have obviously been moved around the edges, and those ones down there have been arranged like that. I have no idea why they have done that. That sort of like stepped pattern on the gravestones, that wouldn't have been original. They must be there maybe to support each other. I have no idea, but it's quite interesting. Couldn't find Emily Bronte's grave, but there's the grave of somebody called Hannah, who is probably just as worthy of being remembered as Emily is, just a lot less famous. So hello Hannah, and there's the view that she's got along this nice little row of gravestones. We like this place. Still quite funny, we get feedback that say I talk too fast, and I do these things now, and what you see is usually the second or the third take, because I say these things, get excited and talk far too fast. So I hope you're managing to keep up okay now. This is really interesting that we've just spent the last 5 minutes trying to decipher this, but here we go. This is Cass Halliday, who is son of Cass and Anne Halliday, commander of the Baron Elizabeth of Scarborough, who died at Calcutta, April the 4th, 1846, of brain fever brought by exposure to the sun, aged 22 years. That's really interesting. We like that. That is very cool.
Guessing that must have been sunstroke for poor Cass.
Yeah, what a way to go, a long way from home. If any of you good people have any idea why those stones are arranged like that, if you could let us know in the comments, that'd be most appreciated. We'd really like to know why they are put in that particular shape, that particular pattern. So our wee explore continues. We're going to go down straight lane steps, which apparently leads to the seafront, but in Scarborough I think everything eventually leads to the seafront. I'm guessing this would be DeNiro's favourite place because it's named after a biscuit. Well, actually probably named after the same person that the biscuit's named after, but hey, we can say it's named after a biscuit. Speaking of biscuits, if you'd like to buy DeNiro a biscuit, we've got a Ko-fi link. Just search for Scotland on a shoestring Ko-fi and you can buy DeNiro a nice biscuit and be his best friend forever. Not quite as impressive as the other church. This is some old kirk or other, but it's still got some gravestones propped up against the wall. Very smart. There you are. It's called the Friar's Lodge and it's now somebody's house, so I'll put the camera away before I get caught filming somebody's house. And you probably can't see it because it's too far away, but that is the merchant Seaman's Homes, and they were founded in 1752, so been there for a wee while. This is Scarborough's old market hall, which is still in use, so we're going inside for a wee look. It's unique and interesting, and it's this way, so let's go this way. Oh, this looks quite nice, doesn't it? This is, again, an old Victorian style market. Actually, it probably was a Victorian market back in the days of the Victorians, and now it's just a nice market. This is the inside of the old Victorian market. There's, we just had a nice dinner down there from that wee stall over there, and there's lots of wee shops.
There you go, that was Scarborough's Victorian market.
And very nice it was. Although we didn't actually buy anything because, well, we're tight. Remember that Grand Hotel that we saw earlier? Well, there it is from the top. And now there's the other end of that tramway, which we are now going to go and have a ride in, because I'm a big kid. Beck says we could just walk down the hill, which is actually true. We could just walk down the hill, but I'm not going to. I'm going in the tram. She can walk down the hill. So we're going on a very exciting tram ride, and there is the tram. This is another one of those things that the Victorians have left us. Thank you, Victorians. And as you can see, it's going to take us a few hours to get down the hill because it's all the way down there. Bex is super excited, as you can see from her super excited face.
I'm super excited.
Super excited. We're both super excited. It's the Central Tramway, established 1881. I want to know, what's the significance of the little mouse? because we do quite like the little mouse. And we are off. Now, do I try to talk all the way down this to keep commentary going, or do we just put some music on, or do I just give up? Because I think this is not going to take very long.
Are all these people too lazy to walk up the stairs? No, they want the nice experience.
And that was the tram from the top to the bottom. We've come a whole 100 metres down the hill and we're back on a beach. Guilty pleasure time. We love these places.
They'll need to change that now, it's the King's Head.
The Queen is dead along with the King. Hey! Bex has given me £1.
Okay, you may not think that £1 sounds like a lot of money, and that's because it isn't. But here it will get you 50 shots on the 2p machines, and that is where we are headed.
And this is the point where you become obsessed with winning crap that you don't actually need, like a set of fake ear pods or a really tasteful piece of jewellery.
There's only one person going to get rich from the 2p machine, and that's the person that owns the machine.
Here we see how it's supposed to be done. But you can win some really, really tasteful prizes. How have you managed without that little octopus? We're on the third one of these machines, and look at all that money hanging over the edge. That could make me rich beyond the dreams of somebody that wants to win 10p. I have won 40p, and it only cost me £1.
There is something particularly British about these arcades. We have them at the seaside all over the country, and I've never really seen them anywhere else. Other countries don't seem to go in for this level of just sheer awfulness. So while Bex went on to lose the rest of her £1, I had a look to see if those prizes would actually fit down that hole. I don't think they will.
I think, speaking on behalf of Scotland on a shoestring, we can say what a lot of absolute crap you can win in that play. If you want a stuffed slug or a centipede or a rubber horse or a little spider thing or an octopus, then it is great.
And you'd have to spend about £100 with any chance of winning one.
And they probably cost about 50p to buy.
Yes.
This is nice. We ran past this morning, but I didn't stop because I was trying to catch up with Bex. But that is St Nicholas Gardens, which are very pretty, built on the side of the hill. Well, Bex has just said something that I wholeheartedly agree with. We're going to go and have an ice cream.
Great idea of mine.
Of yours. I can't claim all the credit. Well, I can, but she'd know. Oh, there's the ice cream shell. Oh, it's closed.
Oh, those things are spooky.
We mentioned when we were running along about the Ancient Warrior shop. Yeah, if you come on your holidays, you can buy a bucket and spade, or a nice hat, or a great big sock.
They also have some amazing collectibles and movie tie-in stuff that we really, really like. You're pretty much sorted for all your cosplay needs, including that authentic blade.
Go in there and you buy a bar of chocolate with your name on it, and a big sword. Just what you want as a wee souvenir from Scarborough.
Ice cream time!
Yep, next stop, ice cream.
I'm very indecisive, so I won't be able to choose what flavour.
It'll take us 10 minutes to decide what ice cream she wants, and then she'll have what she always has.
We remember the days when all you could get was vanilla ice cream, and if you were very lucky, strawberry.
Bex is in shock because I just ordered 2 ice creams on the cones with the sprinkles on them, and she said, "Ah, they'll be about £8 each." Cheers. This is Scarborough's West Pier, which is a really nice building that is in line for our £11 million regeneration, so I wonder what they're going to do with it, because we quite like it the way it is. Come down a little slipway to get away from the crowds and get a nice look at the little harbour here with all the fishing boats and the really, really noisy seagulls. You guys are noisy, noisy, noisy. Can you shut up while I'm filming, please? In days that are really digital, this is really cool. It's all analogue. This was presented in 1937, and it's got analogue barometers to show wind pressure and all that sort of stuff. It's really smart. And there's us. Hello! Yeah, it's time for another gratuitous shot of the harbour. Have we mentioned that we like a wee harbour? Well, we like a wee harbour. We still haven't made it up to the castle. We've been close to it and round it, but not actually into it. But hey ho, it's still been a very nice day out. As usual, just remains for me to say thank you very much for watching this episode of Scotland on a Shoestring from England. If you've enjoyed it, please like and subscribe and share and tell your friends and all that gubbins, and we'll see you soon for more Scotland on a Shoestring from Scotland. Bye!
Bye! Dog new tricks. Right, okay, ready, steady, go get it. Come on then, come on. Oh, DeNiro. Quick, sticky sticks. Go get it, come on. It's off interest now. We did it.